Welcome back to Elevation Perspective. My name is Mark. Some big breaking news in Major League Baseball last night. Corbin Burnes heading to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Also, Teoscar Hernandez back to the Dodgers. And Gleyber Torres has found a home in Detroit. Let's break it all down. We have to kick things off here with Corbin Burnes, the most coveted starting pitcher on the market this winter, heads to Arizona on a 6-year deal worth $210 million. It was reported last night that both the Blue Jays and the Giants offered more money to Corbin Burnes than the Diamondbacks did. Two teams that just continue to have this issue getting players to sign with their organizations. Of course, Toronto has a very tough penalty with their taxes. The Giants, I think, are just not the most desirable place to play right now. And because of that, the Blue Jays and the Giants lose out on another elite talent. Now to talk about the player. Corbin Burnes is as solid as it gets. 3 straight years of 190-plus innings. 4 straight All-Star appearances. The highest ERA over those 4 years was 3.39. Burnes is just a rock-solid ace. In 2024, in his lone season with the Baltimore Orioles in his contract year, Burnes had a 15-9 record with a 2.92 ERA. In 194 and a thirds inning, he had 181 strikeouts. It's of course not all sunshine and rainbows though with Corbin Burnes. There's one glaring red flag here in his profile. Over the last 5 years, his K per 9 has dropped dramatically. In 2020, it was 13.27, 21 it was 12.61, 22 it was 10.83, 23 it was 9.92, and 24 was 8.38. Corbin Burnes did not strike out a batter per inning in 2024. That's pretty shocking to see. I think when you see a 2.92 ERA and a 3.27 expected ERA in 2024 for Burnes with a K per 9 less than 9, it gives you encouragement to think about how elite he is at limiting hard contact and getting ground balls. But on the flip side, I feel like as he ages, as he loses control, there'll be balls hit harder against him, more walks, more hits. It's very tough in today's Major League Baseball to be an elite number 1 ace with a K per 9 below 9. But if Burnes can continue pitching the way he is now, he's kind of changing his repertoire a little bit as he's aging. If he can continue this level of success, it's a great deal for Arizona. The Diamondbacks' projected rotation in 2025 looks like Corbin Burnes, Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, Eduardo Rodriguez, Brandon Pfaadt, and Jordan Montgomery. The Burnes sign was even more interesting with the Montgomery wrinkle there. Of course, the Diamondbacks owner Ken Kendrick publicly criticized Jordan Montgomery, calling it a horrible decision to bring him in last year. Of course, Montgomery had a really bad 2024 season, but everyone kind of felt like that was not right for him to come out there and publicly criticize his player like that. And an important point to all of this, Scott Boras is the agent of Corbin Burnes and was the agent of Jordan Montgomery at the time. So kind of weird there. I'm sure Scott was looking out for his player here. Got him $35 million per year, did a very good job, but I'm curious if there were any hard feelings there during the discussions. With the 2 additions this week of Josh Naylor and now Corbin Burnes, I think the Diamondbacks have solidified themselves a legitimate playoff team here. I expect them to be one of the 3 teams that get into the National League wildcard picture. I want to take a moment now to applaud 3 teams in the National League West, being the Giants, the Diamondbacks, and to a lesser extent, the Padres. I say the Padres to a lesser extent because there's heavy rumors saying they're trying to cut payroll here, trading away Dylan Cease, trading away Luis Arraez. They have a really strong team on paper right now. If they were to add to that team, they're probably a World Series favorite, but unfortunately they look to be cutting more payroll, so the Padres take a back seat for this discussion. But looking at these 2 teams here in the Giants, in the Diamondbacks, bringing in these big money contracts, and Willy Adames, Corbin Burnes, both teams still seem to be involved in other players as well. The Dodgers are the big bad wolf right now. The Dodgers are the dynasty. They're the franchise. There's Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Blake Snell. It goes on and on and on. And it'd be so easy for these National League West teams to sit on their hands and be like, we can't win the division. There's no point even trying. Let's just save our money, like the majority of the American League teams are doing right now. But these 2 teams in the Giants and Diamondbacks are saying, no, the fans deserve more than that. We're going to try our absolute best. Yeah, they're not going to win the division. I'm sure they know that going in, but they can win a wild card for sure. We've seen time and time again, the best team does not win the World Series. Of course, that didn't really happen last year with the Dodgers. They, of course, won the World Series, but a majority of times the best team does not win, and I applaud the Diamondbacks and the Giants for trying. While talking about the National League West, we'll segue now to the reigning World Series champion Los Angeles Dodgers, agreeing to a 3-year, $66 million deal with Teoscar Hernandez. I don't think Teoscar returning to the Dodgers is too shocking or surprising to anyone. I feel like this was the most likely outcome going into this offseason. Teoscar did have a career-high 33 home runs with the Dodgers in 2024, hitting .272 and .840 OPS. Teoscar is no doubt a really prolific run producer for this Dodgers team. Profiles really well in that 4 spot behind the likes of Mookie, Freddie, and Shohei, always getting on base in front of him. I will say here, there are some eyebrow-raising concerns for Teoscar Hernandez on this 3-year deal. He is a very poor defensive outfielder, having a -11 fielding run value in 2024. Probably profiles best as a designated hitter right now, and with Shohei Ohtani, that is not an option. Teoscar will be an everyday outfielder for this team. And while Teoscar still hits the ball incredibly hard, his expected batting average was 250, his actual batting average was 272. And when you hit the ball really hard, your expected numbers are usually transcended by your actual numbers, but it's definitely a cause of concern, especially when you look down there at that whiff percentage, at that K percentage. He had a 29% strikeout rate with a 34% whiff rate. Now, it's not a problem right now, but as he continues to age, he's 32 years old now, I wouldn't be surprised at all if 2 years from now that we're looking at a really rough, possibly bottom falling out on this player. Even with those concerns being said, though, Teoscar is still a very solid player. I think for the year 2025 and probably 2026 as well, he will still continue to be that elite hitter. I worry about his defense, but it's still a very nice fit for the Dodgers to bring him back. And for our last order of business today, the Detroit Tigers and Gleyber Torres are in agreement on a one-year, $15 million deal. Torres had a pretty tough contract year with the New York Yankees. In 2022, he hit 24 home runs. In 23, he hit 25 home runs. In 2024, he only hit 15 home runs with a 708 OPS. Over the years, Gleyber's poor defense and questionable base running has kind of been suppressed or hidden by his bat, but when the bat disappears too, it's a very rough profile to look at. Gleyber's quality of contact dropped dramatically from 23 to 24. In 2023, his XBA was 282, his X-Slug was 478. In 24, his XBA was 240, and his X-Slug was 368. Gleyber does still do things well, though, has a great knowledge of the strike zone, a very low chase rate, a really solid walk rate. I think we forget that Gleyber is just 28 years old. He came up so young with the Yankees that it feels like he should probably be in his 30s already, but he is still in his prime. There's a lot of time for him to turn this thing around. I just question if Detroit was the place to turn it around. The Tigers' 25 projected lineup looks like Parker Meadows, Gleyber Torres, Riley Green, Kerry Carpenter, Matt Vierling, Colt Keith, Jace Young, Jake Rogers, and Trey Sweeney. Gleyber is a nice fit here with the Tigers in the sense that he breaks up this lineup of a lot of talented left-handed batters in Parker Meadows, Riley Green, Kerry Carpenter, Colt Keith. Having a nice, strong righty who hits lefties pretty well is a nice addition for the Tigers lineup. And with Colt Keith sliding over to first base, it seems like former first overall pick Spencer Torkelson is possibly out of a job here. Maybe he's a potential trade candidate. Had that one really nice year with the 30-plus home runs, and he came back in there in 2024, got sent to the minors, had a really tough go about it. It's unclear if the Tigers are done with Spencer Torkelson or if they just need him to have more seasoning in the minors, but it feels like a change of scenery might be best for both sides at this point. I do like this move quite a bit for the Detroit Tigers. I think bringing in an established major league hitter in his prime with playoff experience to this very young team could really pay off a lot of different dividends. But I just question here for Gleyber Torres, is this the best spot for you to go out there on a one-year deal, presumably try to have a big year to bounce back and get back into the free agent pool? Is Comerica Park the spot to do that? I don't think it is, but of course, Gleyber could prove me wrong, have a 25 to 30 homer year, go out there and get a 5 or a 6 year deal. It's definitely in the cards for Gleyber Torres. But that is going to do it for me today. We covered Corbin Burnes, Teoscar Hernandez, and Gleyber Torres. More activity, I'm sure, on the way this week. Hopefully everyone enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching.